Oh gosh, where do I look? Hello everybody, welcome back to Three Swords Productions. Tonight I'm doing another CookieRun video. So tonight I wanted to go over my version of the Green Decklist. Down below in the description I do have more links that will take you to the text version of the decklist. So if you want some import option, I've got you there. Don't worry. Today I will be using my webcam to point down at the cards just so you can see like a full visual layout of this. Also, it gets everybody primed for some webcam games. Let's go. All right, let's switch over. All right, so this one's going to be straight to the point. I'm going to show you the cards that I'm playing in my deck. I'm going to tell you a little bit why I prefer this version, and then in the comments below we can discuss like other builds. So this is what I found successful. I will say for this deck list, it does really hinge on your ability to mulligan correctly. You have to identify that early in the game your entire purpose for existing is either to draw cards with Cookie Malls or Rogue for Cookie, or, and this is really, really important, you need to be able to ramp by turn 3. If you can't do either of those two things, you need to mulligan. If you're only looking at one single copy of Cookie Malls and the rest of your hand doesn't look very good, you've got no top end, you've got no power, you should also consider mulliganing that hand because you're really only using the Cookie Malls to try and find pieces that you might find otherwise by performing your mulligan. So let's get started with the deck list here. So we've got 4 copies of Supreme Whipped Cream. This is a starter deck classic. This card's going to be good for a very long time. Green's ability to pay 1 to give -3 is so powerful at stalling towards the late game, even earlier. One thing that I really enjoy about the traps for this game, especially for green, you can put this into your support early if you want to. If you have no other cookies, let's say you're playing against purple, all the cookies in your hand really matter. Putting cards into your support area does not actually lose that card for you. I still have access to this with my stage card, for example. Still have access to this with a Roguefort cookie, another example. There are ways to interact with your support area that can save these cards for you for later. So one thing to consider, your early support cards can always be these, or some flip effects, but just consider that things in your support area are not locked to your support area. So I'm playing 1 copy of Mischievous Ladybug here, and that serves as basically copy number 4 for Ancient Healer. They both do a similar thing. I do like the versatility of Ladybug. And then this set, I'm also seeing more players playing Spicy Power Juice in their red deck lists. Whenever you see that, you know, it's a good opportunity to maybe play a second copy of Ladybug. A little bit of flexibility there. So let's wipe those to the side. I am also playing 3 copies of Wanderer's Apple Pie. This is a very cool card for a couple of reasons. One, it's just a pretty powerful turn 2 play if you have nothing else to do with two resources. You can always pipe this down, put it in your support area, boom. You're going to be miles ahead of your opponent now, and that feels amazing. The other thing you can do with it, your stage card requires that you put 1 card back to your hand in order to draw a card from your deck. Those turns where you have a bunch of excess mana but nothing to do with it, this is your chance. You can pick this back up to draw a card with your stage, and then pay 2 to play it again. And it's kind of like you paid 2 resources to draw a card in a weird way, which can sometimes just be powerful. So you've got 3 copies of that. You don't want too many of them. They become support fodder pretty fast. But I like having the 3rd copy of it so that I see it often enough after my first mulligan. It's not necessarily what I want to see in every opening hand, but in my first mulligan, I like that a lot. So Parsley Tea. This card is so cool. Now, one thing you'll notice about this archetype in general is that you are going to mill your deck a lot faster than most people. A lot of the cookies that you're playing have 5 HP. That is a subtle difference over a lot of other decks in the game. 5 HP means you're milling your deck quite often, especially since your Ancient Healer's Gaze, your other big cards we'll talk about in a second, those are taking your cookies from the battlefield and putting them into your resources directly, into your support directly. That's going to take all of those HP cards and put them into the trash. So that looks a lot like milling your deck. You're going to do that a lot, right? So with a card as powerful as this, anywhere in the game, you can resource this early because, again, your stage card picks this back up, right? So you can put this into play, or you can play this, pick up 2nd copy of Wind Archer that you milled. your Sugar Swan at the right moment. You know, those really high value, high impact effects, when they come into play, they really get you out of a niche situation. This gives you access to all of them. So it's kind of like playing copy number 5 of both of those cards. I like this a lot, especially with my luck. I tend to draw all my flip cards, and I tend to mill all of my bombs. So this card gives me that little bit of grace, you know? And sometimes you don't see it. Sometimes you do. If it's bad, you can support it. Sometimes it's really powerful, though. So keep that in mind. I've got 4 copies of Wind Gems. This card is insane. It's a very cool amount of reach green did not already have. So this is pretty much a mechanically unique card for green. Like, it's a whole effect that they didn't have access to in a good amount. So like, this is your way to avoid traps. Your opponent is clearly trap heavy. Maybe they're playing purple, maybe playing some yellow. You just don't want to trip up, you know? This is the way to like touch their cookies without triggering the trap cards, right? Because you doesn't give them a trap window. So this card is very powerful. A lot of games you're going to have 9 or more resources, 9 or more support cards in your support zone. This is a way to burn all of that. If you didn't draw Wind Archer cookie, this is your chance. All right, let's keep going, because this card is so important to the deck, and you might actually lose games just because you didn't see this card. This one's critically important that you play 4 of. It's just so powerful for what it does. Now this, I will say, you need to practice this deck, because cards like this are what will trip you up. You will win a game because you saw this. You will lose a game because you misplayed this. I'll say that again. If you misplay this card, you will lose every single game of green that you play. That's because this card is a tempo breaker. So this goes, I mean, picking up a support card kind of is like the opposite of what you want to do early in the game. So you're spending that turn 2, that turn 3, playing Ancient Healer's Gaze or Wanderer's Apple, or even you're playing like Sugar Swan, right? You want to put that card into your resources. You don't want to go backwards on your support. You need to keep going forward. Up until you have about 6 resources, I found that comfortably sitting at 6, I can start playing this, pick up a card once per turn and draw if I want. There will still be some plays that I have in mind where I need to go higher than that, but you need to do that calculation. You need to know what your deck's potential support combinations are, because this card will start changing the math middle of the game. And if you're in a corner and you need to draw cards in order to get out of that corner, you need to also consider what that's doing to your support area, right? This is not free. Like that, the effect of picking something up can be good, but losing the mana tempo is critically important. Like, you cannot do that. You need to control that. Okay, so that's my note on the most powerful card green has access to, but it's a double-edged sword. It's super dangerous, but extremely powerful, and this is a card that's going to be around for a long time. So, starter deck card, by the way. Starter deck. Super important, super unique. Starter deck card. Okay, now we've got into some of my flip effects here. So I just play 4 of whichever ones look pretty and are level 1. Like, for me, I'm picking all level 1s for my supports because, for one, they can punch. You see that they attack for 1 resource, lets all the level 1s attack. Incredibly powerful. Not to be understated how how versatile you need to be to play green. And I say that because your stage card and some of your effects that let you pick up your support zone these are valid targets sometimes. You know, there will be a moment here and there where you have 1 spare resource and you can only do 1 thing. But if you play like a 2 cost or, you know, level 3, level 2 onto the table, you might lose. Very rarely are you going to lose over a single level 1. You know, if you're at 7, like, this is the perfect amount, because like going to 8 is fine, but going to 9 is not fine, because you'll refresh and lose the game to the refresh mechanic, so that you functionally played a level 3 there. This card gets out of both situations, so very strong to be able to just put down a level 1 and attack with it on very low or very manageable resource costs. So I like playing all level 1s. The other upside is that against decks that can attack for a lot of damage but cannot attack many times per turn, you can kind of clog them up by playing these, you know. So, you know, you can change the way that you play the game by just putting more level 1s in your deck. You do lose a lot of power, though. Like the level 3 flip effects tend to also attack for 3. So you do lose that, but I think you have enough other cards in your deck that attack for that similar amount of resources that I would rather have the level 1s, but I totally understand if you pick a different flip package. Mine is to go 8 and 8 or 8 and 4. So I like to heal more than I like to draw, which is really important. Okay, Rogue for Cookie here. This card is controversial in my mind. I do not know that this card is powerful enough to be in the deck. I'm playing it because Cookie Malls is so strong that I just want more Cookie Mall. And plus I'm looking for like just consistently good opening hands that like kind of put me ahead on advantage. I think this is one of them. But if you all have another suggestion for this card, I would love to hear it. I'm not the biggest fan of this. It attacks for 1, which is great. So it's kind of in line with my other cookies, which is kind of like part of the reason why I'm even playing it to begin with. But you know, I do understand if you wanted to cut that card. But for now, I like it. I haven't found something better. Maybe if I play enough games against a specific color, this is one of the cards I would consider cutting from the deck. But for now, I haven't had that testing, so this is there. The all-star of set 2 for me, really, this card is incredible. For 1, it's like Pot of Greed every turn. Turn 1, you can play this. Like, you can't even do anything else on turn 1. You can't attack because I went first. I can play Cookie Malls. Also, not for nothing, it's tough for your opponent to attack turn 1 and turn 2. This usually, like, if you go first, this can represent up to like 4 cards on its own. That's just an incredible amount of advantage for no resource cost. Kind of cracked. Okay, this card is insane. Very good card. I feel so good every game that I play that card. And then it just becomes resource fodder later. Totally fine. But yeah, love it. So this card, just draw more stuff. You know, gotta restock your hand. Sometimes you really need to find your stage. Draw cards are good. I don't like going all heals, but I do like a lot of heals because whenever you flip a heal, it feels like the game has changed in your favor. So I like to just live on that. 1 Bellflower cookie. If CookieRun decided to put it to 1, I have to respect that it's a good card. So you can stall a bit more with it. It is what it is. This card I've also recently found is a little bit controversial as well. I think you have to include this because like Wind Gems is so good that you just want like any other versions of that you can get. So like this one lets you pay 4 to deal 2 damage, which is the same exact rate as Wind Gems. So like it's kind of like a baby version of Wind Gems. Like instead of paying 6, you have to pay 4, but you get something out of it too. So like that feels pretty strong. You know, so this card's been pretty good for me. I like keeping this in the deck. Indirect damage is always like a good thing. We just don't have a lot of sources of that, so that's why I play it. But I've heard many times that like people don't like this card. Let me know what you think. But I think this is a good card for me. It's just I get that it slows down your tempo, but there's some crafty plays that you can do with it. So I like it. This is an all-star as well. I hate that this card is a common, or I think it's like maybe an uncommon. No, it's a common. This card should have. This card feels like really good in the deck. I know that every color has its own version of this, where it's just like a vanilla 2/5. That's kind of worse than vanilla, right? Because it attacks for 4 resources, it attacks for 3. But it is quite good. I mean, like turn 1, you just play this guy. You let Sangerine sit there for like 2 turns because it takes forever to remove it if they're not like, deleting it. Then right before, it has enough HP to where it's likely that you're going to have a flip effect happen that maybe heals it, maybe saves it. When it's saved, it's the perfect Sugar Swan target. I mean, like what's better than this, right? Where you Ancient Healer's Gaze or Sugar Swan this, put it back here, put it into your support row, and then later on just pick it back up with stage and like replay it. Come on, that's got to be frustrating for your opponent, especially against red, where it's they have a lot of damage, but they have to punch through everything, right? Like they're not just deleting stuff. So this feels quite good against them as well. This is the wall that you really need. So like that card a lot. Super happy whenever I draw that card. If it's the first card I play instead of Cookie Malls, I'm actually pretty happy with that. My order is Cookie Malls, then Tangerine, and then Rogue for a Cookie. Like it's in that order. So next card up that we got in set 2 was Blue Lake Cookie. This card is sweet. So it is a free blocker. You tap it, turn it sideways to block. And then also, don't forget that it also has another ability if it's a level 1 that's attacking it. And that includes the block. Like if you block to level 1, you also get this ability. Quite good. You're going to receive less damage from level 1s early in the game. That could be really frustrating, depending on if your opponent put down a card that they were trying to use to like counter your play. Then you're like, I gotcha. And they can really get stuck there. So it's pretty good. It's an upgrade for Affogato Cookie, or whichever one the green one was. I apologize. I think I got that wrong. But it's an upgrade for the blocker that you had. Oh, Tea-Night. Sorry, Tea-Night Cookie was the blocker. But it's an upgrade for that, for sure. And you can only do it once, but, you know, it costs nothing. And it's a 2/4. The 2/4 stat line is great. Really love those. I'm playing a lot of copies of this. I'm playing a whole bunch because, wow, does this card just change every game that it comes down in? Like, whatever your opponent's got going, like even if they're playing purple and they play they play Wind Archer, and then you hit them back with your Wind Archer, and then they respond with theirs. You can even have a hilarious moment where you're like, play my second one too. You can have a lot of fun there. But no, like genuinely, this card feels really strong. 5 HP, like I said, with the Tangerine Cookie, 5 HP feels out of reach on a single turn. So 5 HP usually means you're surviving. Getting 2 turns with Wind Archer Cookie can bake your opponent, like absolutely slaughter them. So this card feels really strong. And it triggers really quickly too. Like, you know, this game right now, your opponent's not taking their resources back super often. I've been against a couple players who have, you know, I put this on the table when they had 6 resources, or when they had 5, and then I used effect to put something back there, and they're up to 6, and then they take their turn and they actually choose not to resource, just so they dodge this effect, which doesn't feel like a good reason to skip a turn, but you know, it can happen sometimes, you know. The gameplay gets really interesting with this card, and it is such a damage stick that it feels impactful whenever you play it. Like, you're really, a lot of the game you're just spending trying to build up your resources, and then you get there and this is what you're looking for. So any amount of this that you can play, this is really what Parsley Tea is all about, you know, getting this card into play. And then when you don't have that card, you've got a baby version of it, which I also really enjoy. I'm playing a lot of copies of this. So you'll notice I'm not really playing any of the powerhouses that we saw in set 1. I've pivoted over entirely to being Wind Archer Cookie with Sugar Swan and Wind Gems as my like damage package. And it's not a lot of damage, but these are really high impact cards. And like I said, you're going to be milling yourself quite a bit without actually breaking your cookies. So it's really good. And this card you can set up. You can play out one of those level 1s. You can have your Tangerine Cookie on the table. You can play out one of those level 1s, let the level 1 die, replace it with Sugar Swan, eat your Tangerine Cookie that's like down. You've got a lot of flexibility there. If you're able to pull something like that off, then it's a real gotcha moment for your opponent, and they probably don't have the resources necessary to KO this, to break this. So that is, this card feels like every game I don't have that card, it feels worse. So yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this video. I did just want to do the deck profile for you all and kind of show you what I'm playing right now. If you're still watching the video, first of all, shout out to you. That's incredible. This is a really long deck tech video. I'm sorry about that. I'm a long-winded guy. 2, there is a number of webcam tournaments happening on Discord that you may already be a part of. So we're in the PBG Discord. That's discord.gg/PBG events. I believe it's PBG events. And then also we're in the main CookieRun Braverse Discord channel. So if you're in either one of those, tag me. I'm at Steven Abbott. Hey, we're running tournaments all the time. I'd love for you to be a part of that. Come check us out. All right. Catch you guys later.